Hello everyone. In this video we are going to go through the self-certification process in Docs Management. Let me close out of a couple of things here. So this is going to be for self-certifications only. So in this example we have our resident John Wayne. So I've pulled up his information and we're going to start the process for the self-certification. So one of the first things that we need to do is actually go to the Financial tab. Because for a self-certification, we don't really require the financial information, so we need to make this information inactive. So we can see on this resident, John Wayne, we have a Social Security for income. So what we want to do is make this inactive. So we're going to click on More, Make Inactive, and then the date to make the record inactive is going to be the last date of the current lease. Well, John Wayne's current lease ends on September 30th. So we're going to make this inactive for September 30th. So that'll change that. And we also want to look at assets and do the same thing. So with this resident, we have a checking account at Bank of Oklahoma. We're going to make this inactive for September 30th, again the last day of the current lease. All right. The next step, and this is going to seem a little bit backwards, is we actually have to create our certification first. So we're going to go into our certifications. And we're going to create a trial tick. So click on Certify. Certification type is annual, and the effective date, this is an example one that I just had to create, so the effective date is going to be a little bit different. It actually should say 10/1/2018. So when we see some of these other dates in here, don't get confused by that. Let's just pretend that this says 10/1/2018. So we're going to hit next. It's going to show our member information. We do not have any income or assets showing, so we're going to hit next. And then we want to make sure we've got the correct scheduled tenant rent. So our scheduled rent for this unit is $615. Check that information, make sure our utility information looks correct. We want to verify the tax credits. All right, everything looks good there. So now what we want to do is finish and view forms. We have our certification summary, and then we have our tick as well. Now for self-certifications, most states do not require a tick. So we do need to save our certification summary. We're going to use that later on in Docs Management. But if you're in a state that requires a tick on self-certification, like Missouri, for example, you could go ahead and print the tick instead. But we're going to do the certification summary, print this, and I'm just going to actually save it to my desktop because we're going to upload it in Docs Management here in a little bit. And I'm going to call it Wayne Summary. All right, and then I can just cancel out of this. I don't need to approve or do anything with that. So now I can see my trial tick. And again, I've got an effective date of 7/1/2019. I don't want you to get confused by that because when we get into the lease date, you're going to see it says 10/1/2018. But since I just moved this resident in for an example, the dates are a little bit off. So this would typically say 10/1/2018 because it's going to match our lease date. So now that we've created our trial tick, we will actually go in and start the renewal process. So we're going to go up to renewals, and then we need to go to renew, go month to month. And we've got a lease start date for 10/1/2018, ending 9/30/2019, so that's correct. If you don't have this offer already, you could go in, if you're just showing like month to month, you would actually need to go in and generate an offer. I had already done that on this one, so you could just go into edit offers or add offers and just make sure that you add one with a 12-month lease. So I can cancel out of that. All right, so once we have created the renewal offer, then we go in to actually renew this resident. We're going to put in a lease sign date, and I understand this is a little confusing because you actually have not signed this yet. But you're going to put in the sign date as the effective date. So the effective date for this resident is 10/1. So we'll put in a sign date of 10/1/2018. Make sure everything else is correct. We've got our late fee method at $50. So we'll hit next. Make sure that our scheduled billing looks correct. So we've got our monthly rent amount for $615. Next. Then we've got our summary, and we're going to finish that up. So remember, you're going to go in, create the renewal offer, and then go ahead and finish the renewal out, making sure that you put in the sign date that matches the effective date. All right, so once we've done that, we've gone and created our trial tick, we've saved the summary, we've gone through and done the renewal process. Now we're actually going to go into our docs. So click on your docs tab. And then over under our resident, we just have one resident in this example, but if you had several residents, they would all be listed here. You can just click on the top one, is fine. We want to look at packets, and for this resident, we have our move-in packet and our application packet from when he first moved in. We will need to create the packets that we're going to use for the self-certification. So go to Actions, and we're going to do New Packet. And we've got a couple of different ones here. So the first one we want to do is the recertification packet for your state. So this example, this property we're using is in Oklahoma. So I'm going to select the WP recertification packet for Oklahoma. And then I need to select the correct lease dates and the for the lease and the tax credit section. So on this drop-down box, we can see we have our current information, so we're never going to select the current because we're doing an annual certification. So we want to go out to what our effective date will be. So I can see I've got a lease here for 10/1/2018. So I'll select that. And then I will do the same thing on the tax credit side. Now remember, these dates are a little off. So this one would say 10/1/2018 because they would actually need to match. But for this example, they're not going to, but I would see 10/1/2018 here under lease and 10/1/2018 under tax credit. So I'll hit save. All right, click on the resident again. So now I see my recertification packet. I also have to create the recertification application approval packet. So I'm going to click here under Actions, New Packet. And on this one, I need the WP Recertification Application Approval Packet. Now, you're not actually waiting for approval with the self-certification, but we have to create this packet because it's really the only way that compliance can see that a file has been submitted. So we're going to go ahead and do the WP Recertification Application Approval Packet. Again, select the lease date. So I don't want to select the current. I'm going to go 10/1/2018. And then on the tax credit, it would be the same thing. Again, remember that this would say 10/1/2018 under tax credit as well. So hit save. So now I've got two packets that I need to work with. So I'm going to open up packets again. And let's go to the WP Recertification Application Approval Packet first. Open that up. And this is going to look very similar to all of the other packets. But you can see we only have one required form, and that is the trial tick. But like I told you in the beginning, most states do not require a tick for a self-certification, but we do have to put something in here in order to get this submitted. So this is where we're going to put that summary sheet for most of you. But again, if you're in a state that requires a tick, it's fine for you to put the trial tick in there. But we're going to go here to More, Attach a Document. And remember, I saved that summary sheet at the very beginning. So I want to look for that. So I'm going to browse. And I've got Wayne's summary right here. So I'm going to open that up. And then we're just attaching one document, and we need to finalize it before we can submit. So there's actually a finalize button here. You may be used to going into actions or more to finalize it after you've uploaded it, and that's fine. But I can just go ahead and do this right here. So I'm going to hit attach. And then we'll refresh. All right. So now we see that we have a document attached under trial tick, and that is our summary sheet. That gives us the ability, now we have our submit button available. We're not going to submit just yet because we have not finished out the packet. So we're just going to close this out. Go back into our WP recertification packet for our state, so make sure you've got the correct one on there. And here are all the documents that we need to generate and have signed by the resident. So we've got our property management file checklist, we've got the all-in-one addendum chart, VAWA, tax credit program addendum, and then of course the apartment lease. So one of the first things we want to do, just like in all the other packets, is we want to generate our forms. And we can move these around if we want. But we've got our apartment lease, all the required documents. We're going to hit generate. You want to go through and answer any questions on these merge fields, just like you would in the other packets. On here, we do want to change this from a new move-in to a renewal. Hit save. All right. Now we can see that the data has been uploaded. We want to print and view the packet because we're actually going to print this out since it's a self-certification. We're going to go ahead and print these and have the resident come in and sign them. And actually on the screen before I said you could move those around. This is where you'd actually put them in the order that you want them if you needed to. So we've got all the documents that we need. So we're going to hit print and view. See where that disappeared to. There we go. So here is our apartment lease. You want to go through and make sure everything looks correct, that everything auto-filled like it was supposed to. We would go ahead at that point, print everything out, have the resident come in and sign that information. Let me get back to the right page here. There we go. You want to make sure as well with the certification, just like you've always done, most of you have a very specific state form for your self-certifications. So in OFA, we have the, or for Oklahoma, we have the OFA form. So that serves as our self-certification tick. So most of you probably already know which form you're using for self-certification. So you're gonna need to print that as well, get that completed, along with any of your lease documents. So these are just our blank forms here that we've just created. We've already printed them out. So now we can just finalize these because we have to have everything green. So we're going to go in here, select all, and then under actions, we're going to make the selected final. Okay. Now the only two that we have left is the signed certification, which would be our state form, or if you were in Missouri, that would be your tick. And then we have our signed lease paperwork. So at this point, we could go ahead and print barcodes for these two sections. So we've got print barcodes. And just click up here, it'll clear them all out. I just want the signed certification and the signed lease paperwork. I'm going to print that out. And here are the barcodes. So I would print those. I would obviously go through and put this on top of the documents that I wanted to scan in, just like in the other packets. So this is a signed certification, would be my signed state form. So I would print this, scan that in with the signed state form, and then I've got my signed lease paperwork. So same thing. So when we go to attach these, I could just scan it in and save it, or I could actually scan it directly into one site. I'm just going to save these and pretend I've got all the documents attached. I'll say signed Wayne. And you would have two different documents. You'd have your signed lease paperwork and your signed certification. All right, so then I need to upload these documents. So since I just scanned them right in, I could just go here, attach document, look for the document. So I'm going to do this one right here, attach, refresh. All right, so my document's been uploaded for my signed certification. Then I would go in and find my signed lease paperwork that I've scanned in with the barcode. So I would attach document. Find the paperwork. Attach. And remember, I've attached the same document to both just for this example, but you'd probably have one called signed certification Wayne and one signed lease paperwork for Wayne, or whatever you want to call it, but you would have two separate documents, obviously. So I can see that those have both been uploaded. So now I want to finalize everything. So I could just click each individual one. So let's just do that. So I've got my signed certification and my signed lease paperwork. Go to Actions, make the selected final. This is all my signed information. And then I just want to close that out. Now I still have one more step because I do need to go in and submit something so that compliance can actually see it from their end. So I want to go back into my recertification application packet. And I've got the document that I already put in. This was my summary sheet. So now I'm going to hit submit. Now that I've submitted it, compliance will actually be able to see this packet when they go in. I still want to go in and send an email to my compliance person, whoever that is that's handling your self-certifications. Let them know that you have uploaded the information for the self-certification for whichever resident, and it's in docs management. So at that point, they will be able to go in, look at your documents. I'm sure it's all going to be perfect. So then you'll just get the approval back to close that out where you can actually print off your documents and put it in your file. And that's pretty much it for the self-certifications.